Okay, today we'll be doing a quad focus session together, and we'll also just be hanging out together, and yeah, it'll be kind of like a mic'd up sesh, so I'm really excited for that. It's in the middle of winter here, and I had to get my ass out of the house to do this session, but we're going to do it anyway. So I've already warmed up. I did about 10 minutes of the Stairmaster, and then I'm going to be going straight into some mobility warm-ups, and then we'll get straight into legs, the meat and potatoes of the workout. I really like these as a pec stretch because in winter we become very internally rotated, meaning that when we're cold we shiver in like this. And so if we don't really train our back or stretch out our pecs, over time our posture can get really ugly. And I just feel really tight in the pecs, so I love this exercise. You can do it also with a towel after the shower. Oh my God. So what I'm basically doing with this strange looking contraption is I'm banding basically a mat to the leg extension. So it'll increase our range of motion when we go down, which means it'll give our quads a better stretch. So the first exercise, we have leg extensions, very predictable. And the pre-workout I took is Hell by Axe, which is my favorite. It's a pretty high stim pre, but I really like the nootropic effects of it. So I just kind of take a quarter or half, and I cycle it depending on what training day it is. I've just got a Maximus as well. I feel like the red flavour makes you go faster, but today we'll have to settle for grape. So I'm just doing a few warm-up sets first. My coach has actually been telling me that I need to calm the fuck down and just focus on form. So that's what we're gonna do. I think I could go a little bit heavier. So today we've got to hit 105 for AMRAP, at least 8 reps. The pressure's on. It's really interesting with training. Jacob and I were just talking this morning. When you're in the middle of that set, you know, what drives you to push really hard? He was saying basically that telling himself he's a piece of shit and like self-deprecating, that is what really pushes him. But if I do the same thing, it does not, you know, drive me during that set. I actually have to talk to myself positively and be like, you're a badass bitch, you're strong, you can do this, like you're the 1%. I have to say positive affirmations during my set, and that's what drives me. But with Jacob, he's got to tell himself he's a piece of crap to be able to push through. Really interesting, whatever floats your boat. Using straps on a leg extension, when you're at quite heavy weights, it can help to pull you down into the machine, because otherwise what ends up happening is this when you try and leg extension. So that's why I like using straps to pull myself down into the machine. But if you have long ass monkey arms like me, it can be a bit difficult. You might need to hold under the machine. Let's put on some tuna mornay's. It's all about pushing it past what you think is comfortable. Like I'll just stop there. It's getting a bit uncomfortable. That's when you really have to push because of those effective reps. And the effective reps are the ones towards the end that when we get closest to failure, those are the reps that actually matter because our body latches onto more and more muscle fiber the closer we get to failure. I totally botched that description, but the closer we get to failure, the more muscle we're going to build, the more fatigue you can accrue though. So as your intensity goes up, your volume has to go down. So you can only take so many sets to failure. For me, it's only one, maybe two usually of a compound. You can't go to failure on every set if you're doing like 3 or 4 or 5 sets per exercise. So yeah, the biggest learning lesson for me over the past year or so has been volume and intensity, is that more is not always better when it comes to volume. You can actually accrue more fatigue. A lot of people go to add extra sets onto a workout if they feel they hadn't worked, but all adding those extra unnecessary sets are going to do is accrue more fatigue and contribute to our pool of recovery. So more to recover from, more time lost that could have been making gains. So now we're moving into Watson machine squats, which are awesome for quads and they're really super stable. And then they're also great for glutes as well because they do have that elevated foot plate. It's all about getting that perfect foot position. I currently have 2 knee injuries and my femurs are really long, so I've got to make sure that everything's placed okay. Just doing a few warm-up sets. Actually, how I got 2 knee injuries is I would go all the way down to the bottom and not maintain that slack, not maintain the tension in my quads. I would just fall into the bottom and it would pry my knee joints apart over time. So I've got to really make sure to hold that tension in the quads. It's been a really interesting week, mental health wise. Like honestly, it was a bit of a struggle. I had to jump on medication and it wasn't a knee-jerk reaction. I just decided it's been going on for a while. I've just had symptoms very consistent with PMDD, just very low moods, and yeah, so we're speaking to my psych and I think it's best that we jump on them. Yeah, I think it's normal for everyone to go through a little bit of feeling down, especially in the winter months, but this has been going on for probably like half a year. So it's no coincidence, I think. Some days are going to be better than others, and that's just part of the game. Not every session is going to be a massive PB or feel awesome, and we just have to take it as it goes, but also not discredit the whole session just because one exercise is bad. Just use that session to take down the weight. Practice on technique. It can be so easy to get like emotionally attached to your lifts, and I'm definitely guilty of that. It's a little bit demotivating to be under last week's performance, but it's all right. I think as well in a build phase, it's so important to be sleeping at least 7 to 8 hours a night, at least, to recover, because you can push yourself into the ground with your training and hit a bunch of PBs, but if you're not sleeping, you simply will not recover at all to that stimulus. So if anything, my insomnia is probably the reason for today's non-progress. But again, not every session is going to be a progression. Just trying to get out of that perfectionism mindset. A couple of warm-up sets. So when I first started out in the industry, I thought we had to change training programs every 8 weeks. And that is definitely not the case. In fact, it's good to kind of run a training program for as long as it's working for you. The reason why most people don't get results is changing a program too often, actually. So never actually get good at a certain movement because they're always flip-flopping between exercises. This one feels really good. So essentially we're aiming to posteriorly pelvic tuck our pelvis. So tuck it underneath like Michael Jackson, wee-hoo, and put our hips in the back of our shoe. And that's going to give us a really nice stretch down the rectus femoris, because that is definitely a muscle that are trying to grow for that quad definition. Cool. I'm feeling a bit hot and spicy from that pre-workout. Definitely feels like you're burning up on the inside. When it comes to supplements, there's so much bullshit out there, but there are a few brands that actually care about the quality. And that's why I decided to pair up with Axe, because they're a company I actually believe in, which is rare, because a lot of them just are full of crap. That feels good. I recently started taking creatine again as well, which is just one of those things if you remember to take, but it's fantastic for strength and endurance. So for a girl, we're aiming to put our hips in the back of our shoe. If you're a guy, we're aiming to put our balls in the back of our shoe. I recently started taking creatine again as well, which is just one of those things if you remember to take, but it's fantastic for strength and endurance. All right. Just need a 5.